Welcome to Geek Blast.
Geek Blast, yeah.
Geek Blast, you better make way. Open up your ears and let the word spray. Hey, did you hear the noise? Something just exploded as a mushroom, have you noticed? Geek Blast, clear out the pad. Gizmo's throwing caca and Chewbacca is a rat. Hey, what? Better call your dad. Something has been growing underneath the doormat. Geek Blast.
Welcome back, geeks, nerds, and dweebs alike. I'm Mike.
I'm Dave.
I'm Terms.
And I'm James.
And you're listening to
Geek Blast.
What would double up?
What's up, everybody?
Welcome.
Bringing it back. Tonight we have a special guest. We got Dennis on the line. Dennis, how you doing this evening?
All right, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Now, is Dennis a New Jerseyan?
Dennis is a local Jersey boy.
Okay.
He's got a sick, massive collection of statues and goodies that we all want to
Strictly Barbie, right?
have.
Strictly Barbie. Come on now, let us know.
No.
I got the more rare Ken one.
Special edition Kens, I know it. Black hair Kens.
with the disco outfits.
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to be talking about, obviously, some collectible stuff, toys and stuff like that. Also, we wanted to touch on some comics. Comic books. They've been doing crazy things. They're secret wars, and they're just turning the world upside down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, first off, let's start with the comics, okay, guys? As you all know, Secret Wars has been released. I think it was like in July they released it. And I personally have not read most of it, but I'm hearing some crazy stuff where they're like just one dimension now.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, do you agree with their move that they're what they're doing here, or are they?
Well, they got to do something.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
not selling as many books as DC is right now.
Got to compete somehow.
The revamp, but at the same time, I'm a traditionalist, and everybody that listens to the show knows that about me. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I probably won't be happy with everything that's going on. But then again, some things would be a natural progression.
Right.
Amadeus Cho.
How things happen. Right. Amadeus Cho being the Hulk.
Yeah, he's Asian or something,
Miss
right?
Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is he? I don't know.
Well,
Today, the big
whole
thing is to
race
change everybody's ethnicity.
The whole race thing is like big. You know, people are like, "Oh, why would you change the character so drastically?" You know, just keep
It seems so
another white guy or
forced,
another
though.
black
It's
guy.
so forced.
It is forced. It's like making
Isn't
a
it?
black Human Torch. I mean,
Yeah.
who would do that? Oh, wait.
That
Yeah.
happened.
Let's make all boys girls and
Yeah,
girls
exactly.
boys and
Well,
you know.
Well,
that was the point
ethnicities.
behind Ultimate Spider-Man and making Miles Melendez Hispanic
Morales?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's just
Melendez.
crazy. I don't know.
Morales, same difference.
Morales, Melendez, they're all the same.
Either way, he'll
jumpers.
clean your lawn.
Take me back to Mother Effin' 93, baby. Any day.
So some of the titles that have come out, has anybody seen them? Anybody gotten them?
Yes.
What do you got, James?
I've recently been getting, of course, as me being the big Spider-Man guy, I've
course.
currently been following the Renew Your Vows and the Spider Island. The Spider Island one that actually I have not had a chance to read because I'm just waiting until I get them all so I can speed read that BS.
You're gonna binge read it?
Yeah, but for Renew Your Vows, essentially, in this little pocket of reality, this Peter Parker is married to MJ. They've got a daughter. It's not Mayday Parker. And the first issue kicks off with a big prison break because all the superheroes are being murdered. And Venom comes after his family. And then Peter murders Venom.
What Venom is that? Is it Flash
Eddie Brock.
Thompson Venom? The original
It's-
Venom? Is it
They
Scorpion
seem to
Venom?
have completely backtracked, and there's Agent Venom isn't a thing in this little Renew Your Vows pocket of his existence.
It kind
And
of
it's
picks
still
up
Eddie Brock and
before.
Rikers.
It picks up kind of where I think it picks up is when just before they had the first death of Aunt May, when he was married to MJ, they had a
Yeah.
kid, and they gave up the kid to Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto.
Right, Brand New Day.
That's
that
where
was,
I
yeah.
think they
Brandon,
pick. Yeah, Brandon. I think that's, to me, from what I've seen, is where I think that they're kind of loosely basing it on, but not really.
So they're basically going back to that point
Wait.
like it never happened, and then following it like he never went to Mephisto and traded.
Gave the kid to Mephisto.
Well, yeah, they
That
went to
sounds
Mephisto.
Yeah.
And
See, I'm clueless, but I love Mephisto as a character.
Aunt May was dying of some kind of cancer.
She
or
got
something,
shot,
Right? What was
didn't
it?
she?
Yeah, she got shot. The Kingpin had her shot because what's the name? He found out about Parker's identity.
Yeah, because Peter outed himself. It was a branch of the Civil War thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's definitely when he outed himself. That was around the time where he took
And it was,
what's his name side, Stark's side, with Scarlet Spider, right? No, not Scarlet Spider. Iron Spider. I'm sorry.
Iron Spider. Yeah, it's quite interesting to see how with that Peter Parker, he let the world get taken over by a crazy guy. It's like what? But what I know from people I've spoken to that also read the Spider-Man comics before I did, the after Brand New Day was when they kind of stopped. So I think maybe they're trying to get a bit of callback to go, oh no, it's okay, we didn't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
20 years ago.
You know what? I think both Marvel and DC are trying to capitalize on the success they had by not trying to make something successful. DC started with Identity Crisis, which was a great story. You could go back all the way to the death of Superman when they kind of skipped Doomsday through a bunch of different books, but Identity Crisis was a separate series that ran through everything and then led to the debacle that is the new 52 and the old 52 and whatever 50. And then Civil War was that for Marvel, which was a great story, ran through all the titles. And now they're like backtracking. Ooh, we can create new titles. And part of it also has to do with, I think, the Fantastic Four issues with the rights to Sony and let's kill the comic book and hopefully nobody will see the movie.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that worked.
It totally did.
It did. Nobody saw that movie.
Yeah, but nobody saw the movie because of the trailer alone was like, there's nothing here we want to see.
Yeah.
And the best part of the trailer, supposedly never even happened in the movie, but I digress.
I didn't see it, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well, that's
I purposely didn't see that hunk of stinking pile.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, on the comic front, I heard just other weird things. Like, I mean, obviously, most recently, everybody knows that Wolverine, Logan, they actually finally killed him off.
Yep.
Which I was happy that I wasn't reading because he's one of my.
Was that
favorite
before
characters.
Civil War, though? That was before.
That was after Civil War.
No, it just
I'm sorry,
happened.
not Civil War. I'm sorry.
Before Secret War, yes.
Before Secret Wars,
Yes. And this is actually the new version of Secret Wars because the original Secret Wars had little to do with what it is the new stuff I think is dealing with.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
It is. And the original Secret Wars was just one of those summer, not really a summer, but it kicked off during the summer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was in July.
A limited series.
Yeah, it was basically a limited series. It was basically very loosely based on the book that came out prior to that, which would be Contest of Champions. And
Right, a 3-issue series, which was, again, just a great series.
Yeah, it was basically good versus evil on a grand scale. It was actually more set up like a chess game.
Isn't that what set off that game?
No.
I heard that they were doing something with the game now, that they're making an actual comic out of the game or something
game,
like that.
They are.
They
are,
right?
It was a comic before there was a game.
Okay.
Initially.
Yeah, like a long time. I think that book is 1983, 84,
yeah,
something like that.
82, 83, yeah.
Yeah.
But they killed Wolverine, right, was my point. And then they went and did like this whole memorandum thing where they had all the characters that he has touched, which would be like X-23 and his kid, the Ken, before they actually killed him off, to see who would take the mantle of Wolverine. I guess she ends up winning, so she's now the character Wolverine. And then they also brought him back, though, as the guy, which I want to say it's, I guess, an alternate universe type of a tale, but he's called Old Man Logan. It happened in the last 4 or 5 issues of the, I don't even know what series because he's had so many series over the last 5 years. Probably like the volume 3, I think it would be considered. But
yeah, they're also talking about making that into a movie too.
Yeah, I've heard about that becoming a movie. But I mean, did they make him his own book now out of that storyline, out of that old man Logan storyline? Because I heard that was going to be a book that was going to be starting at number 1 too.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay.
But I do see, they came out with another Wolverine number 1, and I'm just like, you know what? I think here's what's happening with comic books. They're too damn expensive.
Yeah, you ain't.
They're $4 a book now.
Yeah.
And that's the cheap ones.
That's inflation, baby.
it's
Marvel.
It's not only just inflation, but if you look at it from a kid's point of view, and even if you take inflation into account for allowances, there's no way a kid is going to spend to buy 10 books $40 on comics.
Oh yeah.
And you can say, okay, you have the digital version, but you still got to buy the paper version. They get the digital version unless you buy the Marvel subscription, and then you got to only pick X amount of titles. It's just cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
So what's happened is you've seen, the X-Men. This is showing my age. I remember when there was only one title for X-Men and one title for Spider-Man.
I would agree. You're not showing your age any more than I totally remember that, bro.
Yep.
When I started collecting comic books, I was paying less than $1.
Yeah.
For a
my
book.
books start with 25 cents, and then later they say still only 35 cents.
Oh yeah.
So now you have to try and grab the reader, and part of it was in the early 90s was gimmick covers. How do you get them to spend all the money?
Mm-hmm.
Gimmick
Shiny.
covers galore, shiny,
Holograms.
lenticular, holograms.
Oh yeah. Well,
The
that's what.
Spider-Man Omega covers, Jesus. They,
Yeah. Well, that's
I
what
was
killed
like,
the
oh my
industry, though,
god.
in the 90s when the speculators came in and everybody thought, when people first started hearing that some comics would go for $1 million, what they didn't realize is it's the comics from the 40s and 30s that were going for them millions of dollars, not ones that were printed in the 80s or printed in the mid-90s where
there's an overabundance of them.
I mean, that one X-Men book.
If you have 1 million copies of something, man, it's not going to be worth $1 million.
That one X-Men cover that one X-Men issue 1 that Jim Lee did with.
They printed over 1 million copies of that.
Over 1 million copies of just the one cover.
Yeah, and there was
they
5
did
covers
5
plus
covers,
a combo
that's-
cover.
Right, it's 5 million. That's 5 million copies of a book that will be, not worth the
Wipe
paper
your
they're
ass
printed
with it,
on.
that's
Yeah,
what-
for real.
Even if half of them were missing or destroyed or thrown away, that's still another, 2.5 million.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It's
that's
like the death of Superman.
yeah.
Yeah, oh my God.
yeah, the
Forget
black
that. Don't even get me
cover.
started on that.
Well, one of the best things that we've ever done is we interviewed the guy who bought Action Comics #1 from
Which guy?
the guy who bought the comic.
Which one? Because there's the Action Comics #1 Mile High edition,
Right.
which is
It was
the most
previewed
valuable one.
It was previewed at the New York City Comic Con. You know what? I think I have the guy's name right here. If I'm not, yeah, here it is, right here.
He's the owner of Diamond Collectibles or Diamond Distributors. Had that anyway, and he was offered $5 million by
Stephen
Nicolas Cage to buy it. And he
Fischler.
said no.
Stephen Fischler and Vincent Zerzulo.
Yeah,
They're
I believe that they're
Metropolis
distributors,
Collectibles,
Diamond
that's
Distributors.
No, they're co-owners of Metropolis Collectibles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they
Then it's
bought
past
this for $3.2 million. Yeah,
Now, is it the Mile High copy?
I don't know. I didn't know there was
It's
a Mile
gotta
High
be.
copy.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a
Um,
variant either.
But yeah, Action
there's no
Comics
variant.
#1.
It's
It's
not
not
a
a variant. Are
It's
you
not a
gentlemen familiar with the Mile High comics and the Mile High story?
I'm not.
Mile High, you're talking about from Denver.
Yes.
Yes, I am. I would be the
Okay.
only one out of the group that would know about
Dave's
that.
our comic guy, so-
and I'm
All right.
also the oldest.
let me give you a brief story. So, this gentleman, and his name escapes me. I think his first name was Ed. Ed Church. Edgar Church. That's his name.
Right.
Edgar Church was a graphic artist. He really enjoyed the comic book covers of the 30s and the 40s. So every week he would buy comic books. So 1960 something, he passes away, and he lives outside in Colorado, out in the sticks. His wife is going through his things, and she starts calling comic book stores and saying, "Listen, my husband has all these old comic books. They're out in the barn. Would you want to come see them?" So everybody says no. They want to schlep out to nowhere to see some ratty old books in a barn.
I'd have been like, hell yes, thank you.
Now, but
Even
back
then,
in the 70s, nobody's doing this. And one guy says, "Okay, I'll take the ride." He goes out there. Well, Mr. Edgar knew a little something about preserving books because he had stored them in cedar chests. So he opens up, I think his name is Rosenberg. So he starts opening up these chests and starts seeing Action Comics #1. All-Star this, Marvel that. And he knows what he has there. So he asks the lady, "What do you want for these books?" She says, "Just give me what's on the cover." What? 10-cent books.
Oh.
Yeah. So
So he might have paid the equivalent of maybe $500,000 then, but he got,
no, even less. I
Less
want to
than
say
that,
he
huh?
paid her like maybe $4,000 or $5,000.
oh my God.
Shit, gets a truck in.
So
ships
he
them all
robbed
back.
her blind.
No, but wait, the story gets better. She finds out what these books are worth and takes them to court.
Oh.
And the judge says, well, did you have a value on these books? And she said, no. She said, did he make you an offer on the books? And she said, no. And then he said, well, what did you want for them? And she admitted that I just want to cover price. The judge says, you're sorry. That's what you, as the seller, it's up to you to do your research, find out what you have. Yeah. When you asked him to give you what you thought was the value of the books, he didn't do anything wrong. And and now all those books, of which I've had the privilege of handling some when I worked for Comic Books Guarantee when they were up in New Jersey, they still have the cedar smell to them. Wow. And if they get logged and encapsulated, they have the Mile High Edgar Church copy on, and they are considered throughout the industry to be a highest grade copy of any title that you find.
Hence the Mile High label. Okay,
yeah.
I understand.
I mean, when
now.
I was a kid, I
did not know that story, and I'm so glad
it's
you
very
just told
interesting.
us.
Yeah. I like cedar.
I ordered from them in the back of a magazine because they used to have the Mile High thing in the back of a magazine where you would send them like $6 in a self-addressed stamped envelope with a list of the books you wanted that you can get for like for $1 a piece or whatever. And I vividly remember that's how I got my whole entire Marvel universe, the official index books where it listed each character.
Yeah.
I got the whole entire run from them, from Mile High Comics.
Wow. I used to order for a company called Westfield. They were just like a third party vendor, but they used to give you a catalog 3 months in advance so you knew what was coming out. A little more difficult to buy books that way for collectible purposes, but if you know you were definitely going to get your books and not miss them at the comic book store,
right,
they were a good deal.
Sure.
Absolutely, yeah. It's always a good deal.
Sure.
Well, let's try to change our focus here from comics.
Well, the only one thing about comics that I wanted to say was this. I have read the new Star Wars stuff.
Oh, yeah?
Awesome.
Really? I've been hearing a lot of good things about them.
Because it's not
and
as
the
bad
artwork
as I
ain't
thought
too
it was
bad
gonna
either.
be. The artwork, well, we're talking about artwork. Comic artwork is all going to be all good, pretty much.
So you expected the worst, and
the worst, and was pleasantly surprised.
That's good.
And then also, I'm still on the DC. I'm still on Batman Eternal.
Yeah, you're all
Batman
about
Eternal
Batman.
is like, it's crazy.
Oh, and before we do, I just want to tell a story about Dave and his comic book escapades. Yeah, I can't even say the word.
Escapade. Michael.
Thanks, Dave.
Escapade.
Thanks.
Write it down for him, Dave.
Yeah. Sure.
I don't even know how to spell it. But
this guy comes and finds comic books, and people just give him stuff, and it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. First off, Dave goes to the storage unit that he has. And has this guy who's he's moving out of the storage unit, and the guy just gives him all of his comic books.
38 short boxes.
38 short boxes.
38 short boxes stuffed to the gills with basically everything from 86 to basically the first incarnation of the New 52.
Yeah, and that was quite a while ago
that happened in January of last year.
Yeah, so now Dave comes across another bundle of joy.
Yeah, a buddy of mine got rid of his collection, 71 long boxes.
There were some short boxes.
I'd say probably 60 long and probably 11 short.
Yeah.
And that is an immaculate conception.
The Batman boxes that I saw was just absurd.
And he just gave them to you? Just like, here you go, man.
It was crazy.
I paid for
He paid for some of that.
I paid for some of them, but yeah.
The fact is that
I will be opening a comic store.
Yeah, we're opening a comic shop. But Dave and I had the pleasure of transporting these comic books.
Oh, my back was killing me, dude. I live upstairs there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he did all the hauling.
Just like 24 steps.
We had the pleasure of transporting these comic books from, where was it? In Howe, right?
Howe.
We were in Howe all the way to
Keyport.
In what year was that thing? A 1940s.
Oh, my
Army
you're talking about my buddy's trailer. Yeah, my buddy Dano. He's got a 40s.
I don't even know if it's 40s, but it is 40s.
It's definitely 40s. Trail behind Army surplus, basically.
It was the baddest thing I've
one
ever
stop
done.
shop. All we had to go there, pick them up, and one drop them off.
I felt like people are waving at us and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Well,
just
he's a
driving
Jeep
down.
guy, too,
and
so
he's pulling it with a Jeep, which is pretty hooked up. It's an 05. It's only 32,000 miles. I was like, this thing only got 32,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I just Never really drove it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
it's
wow.
the Army Edition Willys that came out, which
Yeah.
is also collectible.
So it's
by
raised
itself.
up, everything.
Yeah.
But this whole setup, and I took a
Yeah.
picture of the
This
truck,
kit.
and I took a picture of us like unloading it. So I'm gonna post those on our Facebook page just so people could laugh. But it was just the most surreal thing to actually be driving in the Jeep and look behind you and see the trailer.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was awesome. So I just wanted to give that little story to everybody
Yeah.
in Dave's escapades.
Escapade comic.
Oh, Dave, you're almost caught up to me. I have,
Comic adventures.
I think at last count was 125 long boxes.
Oh, that was just what I
That's just
got.
what he's
bro.
acquired.
I already
He
have
already
my I kind of have you beat
Kinda
probably by
past that, I
100.
think.
Really?
I'm sitting right now on a 10 by 10 that's stuffed. I can't fit any more books in it.
And his apartment's full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
the 71 boxes went back to the apartment to be cataloged, and then the 38 had been cataloged. The 38 short had been cataloged and are into my unit right now, and the unit in there is probably anywhere between 150 to 200 long boxes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then not even counting the short boxes.
I'm not even counting the short
Right,
boxes
yeah.
at that point.
So you got roughly about 60,000 books. Are they bagged and boarded, or are they
Every
just
single
naked?
one of them.
Yeah, every one of them.
Bagged and boarded. Bagged and boarded in boxes.
Oh, you don't have them in that shelf anymore, right? Because
No.
I know you had a bunch that were to be bagged and boarded.
Yeah, I had some
in
to
the
bag.
shelves.
Yeah, but they were also active collectors. Like,
Right, right.
I won't
Active
stick.
reads.
I'm a weirdo when
Right.
it comes to my things.
Dave's the most anal person I've ever met in my life.
If I'm collecting something actively, they go on a shelf, bagged and boarded. But yeah, they go on a shelf, and once I finish them, they get read, and then I put them into their box forever.
Forever, yeah. So all right, so moving along here, collectibles. Collectibles. I love toys. I don't know
Yes,
about
we
you
all
guys, but I just love them. I just, my people buy toys for my kids, and I'm like, don't open it. Just don't. There's something
the
about even
worst.
if it's the worst toy you've ever seen, and it's not going to be worth nothing. And I know it's not going to be. I just don't want it opened. I don't know why. It's just the way I am.
Childhood
Yeah.
turned out the way it
Wow.
did.
Did you not play with toys as a kid?
I did.
That's why he's the way he
Yeah,
is.
we did.
I
We
did,
opened
and
up
that's the
everything, and now all
problem,
that
my
stuff is worth money, and
Yeah.
it's
Dave and I
sad.
had all the.
You can't do that.
I know.
I know he's brutal, dude. I try to tell him. My nieces, I buy my nieces and nephews cool things, and I open them on purpose right in front of them.
Yeah, and it makes
Or
me.
buy
God.
two. One to play with, one to keep.
That-
It's like
that
a
would have been
comic
smart.
books. One
But
to read,
that's-
one to keep.
That would have been
expensive
smart,
thing.
but I would have loved to have two Ninja Vipers, so I would open up both packages. If I had all my G.I. Joe 3 3/4 figures carded, I'd be happy man right now, man.
You'd be a very
I wish I had my 77
Yeah.
Star Wars figures that way. I have the figures with their either guns, capes, or what have you.
Accessories,
Don't have them
yes.
in the package.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Well,
Although I
I'm,
did just complete my Death Star, I just needed that stupid little rope, and I finally found it on eBay for $22.99.
for a rope.
And it's well, yeah, because
Holy
in the
shit.
Death Star it had this little rope that attached to the disappearing floor.
Yeah, you're talking about
And-
the playset, right?
Yeah, the place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there was fakes out there,
Sure.
but I got an original.
Got the real deal.
Nice, man.
the real deal.
That's a great one. That's a
So
great
now I
one.
have it in the box with the sticker still on the card and
That's a 10 right there.
crisp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the box is a little beat up, but all the parts are.
Yeah.
You know, the
That was a
foam,
big
the
playset,
Diahaga.
man. That came in a pretty big box, right?
Yep.
I remember seeing that sucker on the top shelf in Toys R Us. I was like, Mama, please, please. $100? No.
That's like having the USS flag. man.
Yeah, it was.
G.I. Joe,
The
right?
flag, the 6-foot playset that nobody had.
That thing was
I
brilliant.
had it.
I knew one guy that had it, actually.
Yeah, I knew
We
one
had-
guy too.
No, we had. Oh, we wouldn't have the.
We didn't have that.
giant
Or the
friggin-
space
Oh, that was
shuttle.
the Plos,
G.I.
right?
Joe space shuttle is actually harder to
that
get,
thing
I
was
think.
huge.
And that's actually the one that we did have, was the space shuttle.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
Not,
then.
we didn't have the flag. We blew
Going
'em
back,
up with
going back in the
firecrackers.
days. Now there's
Yeah,
there's
me
some
too.
new stuff that's coming out. Thundercats is actually re-releasing toys, and they're like classic looking.
So,
Are
So
they
they're
putting
trying to
out a
keep
new
the
show
same
or is it
feel.
just toys?
I think they already
there-
had put out a new show.
yeah, there
Yeah.
was a new show
in,
that
like,
was out
05
a couple,
or so,
yeah,
right?
a couple years
Something
back.
like that. But these are like throwbacks.
So kind of like what they did with the
The He-Man figures.
He-Man figures,
Kind
right?
of, yeah. But it's
And the Transformers, because they started
Right,
coming out
right.
with Gen 1 Transformers.
the only
too.
ones that I've seen are
Yeah, but it's still made
Lino.
of plastic.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
isn't really, it's just a crappy
I still got
knockoff.
my original Panthro, man.
Do you really?
Yes, sir.
That's good to know.
I have the original the send-away Transformers that were metal. What the heck was the race car?
Oh, those are worth dough, dude. The metal ones?
Ramjack? Wheeljack. That's the one.
There was one that was a train, right? It looked like a train.
The playset?
Astro?
I can't remember if it was a playset or not, but I remember it was
Yeah.
all metal. It was full metal.
Well, all the original ones
You're
were
talking
metal.
about Omega Supreme.
Omega
It was
Supreme, wasn't he
train about
the
this big.
city?
No, that's Metroplex.
Metroplex, that's it.
Metroplex.
He was plastic.
Yes.
I think the train was plastic. So I think it must have been in the early 80s, they were all metal. And then I want to say it was either the late 80s or early 90s, they transferred over to plastic.
Yeah.
And that's when I was just like, this is crap. Because I had the Predacons that made Predaking,
Right.
and they were all metal.
Right.
Right.
Well, some of these other ones that are coming out, McFarlane toys now. I mean, they've expanded a lot.
Oh, sure.
They got Walking Dead stuff that is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Those little sets. I can't think of the name of them now. The little sets of Walking Dead. They're like they're
They're
fall
kind of
apart.
like, you find them in the Lego aisle, I find.
Yeah, they fall apart and you could put them
Yeah.
together. You can even mix
Yeah,
them.
They have
like
like
blocks.
Daryl on his chopper. They have
Yeah,
the governor with his
Damn,
heads.
I can't remember the name
prison.
of them, but
Can't-
those are really detailed and really like you see Daryl's face in that little ass toy.
Yeah.
So those are really
Doesn't
cool.
she have one of them?
Yeah, that's
has a
right.
little
We have the
Daryl.
Daryl. Yeah,
Little Daryl
yeah, we have
figure,
Daryl. It was actually given to me by somebody else, so it's not even the whole set. But they're all little play sets, and they're all really cool. But one of the other things was Mini-Mates. Okay, Mini-Mates, I remember when they first
I
came out.
I had a bunch of the first series.
We were
a lot
buying
of
them.
specials and variants.
Yeah, we were buying them left and right, and it was mostly Marvel, you know.
Yeah,
but
when
they've
we started.
expanded, and I was just doing some research on them the other night. They've expanded to X-Files, Back to the Future, even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mass Effect. They've gone into video games. You know what I mean? Their Mini-Mates are all over the place now. Even Godzilla characters and stuff like that. Battlestar Galactica. You know, and they're all relatively cheap little toys, you know, like $9-10 for a little package, you know.
What was the company that came out around the same time as Mini-Mates? It drives me nuts.
Kubrick's.
Was it Kubrick's?
Kubrick's. Yep, that's it. Those are
Kubrick's were a little bit bigger.
Right.
and they were nicer.
And they were a little bit, they were a little bit bigger in size, and they were a lot more squared.
Yeah, those are worth money now.
Yeah, because I don't think that company's around anymore,
No,
or it
no.
changed into something else.
Somebody else
they
bought
never
them.
went
Yeah.
as far as Mini-Mates.
But definitely, I would love to just start buying those Mini-Mates again.
Yeah,
Because
they
they
were
just
cool,
so
man.
cool.
They were
Well, at this point, there's really no even need, because
I
now
know.
what Lego has done is Lego basically took the Mini-Mates idea and just
Right.
incorporated it into their own fold, and now they come out with just individual packages of little
I
Lego
know.
dudes.
Yeah, there's one
Yeah.
right there.
Like
with an
all-
AT-AT, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
all
See him
one,
up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars guys, you got Harry Potter guys, all of that.
Don't even get me started on
Marvel,
Legos, because I
DC.
could just blow my whole life savings on Legos.
Well, for me and this guy with the statues, that's kind of what I would do too.
yeah. So, yeah, those are some of the toys that are out there right now that sparked my interest. One of the other things I wanted to get into was just the remote aspect of toys.
Remote how?
Yeah.
Like,
So, like, Star Wars now came out with the BB-8 droid.
the what?
The BB-8
The
droid.
$150 toy for
Yeah,
rich
you haven't
people.
seen this thing, Dave?
No. What is
Oh, my
that?
God, dude. It's a little droid about this high. You know, it's probably about
It looks like the character from the movie,
it's the
except you
exact
control it with your iPhone.
and you control it with your phone. What? And it actually, like, if you hold your phone over it, it'll show you on your phone him projecting like an X-Wing.
Oh, get out of
It's
Dodge,
really cool
man.
stuff, and it talks to you.
So it uses augmented reality. That's what that's called.
Yes, thank
augmented
you.
reality.
I'm telling you, man. A couple years from now, Skynet.
Not
Watch out.
Skynet, yeah, exactly. The other thing was the remote Millennium Falcon. It's a
What is it,
it's a
a
drone.
drone?
Yes,
That's
it's a
Wait,
drone.
you mean the one by Air Hogs?
There's
Yeah.
one by Air Hogs, but then there's another
Yeah.
one.
No, that's one by Air Hogs. It
I
has
thought-
the lights and sound, and
I thought there
there's
was
two versions of it. There's one where like the entire center's propeller. Then there's the other one that came out with by Air Hogs that has 4 little propellers in
Yes.
it and actually hovers. That's the more impressive one.
Yeah. It's really
That's
cool.
just
shit.
crazy.
It actually reminds me of the robot. Like if you're just looking at it, and I don't remember who told me that. Maybe it was you, Tim's. The robot that was in no batteries included.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of remind me of that little robot.
Those things are cool. I'd love to have one of those.
Yeah, those were great. But moving on to statues.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit about Dennis's collection. I want to know, how many do you have,
Yeah, what's your
actually, these
grand total?
Bowen busts?
It's easier for me to tell you that I have all the Bowen busts except 9.
What is that roughly, like
How
300?
many are in the collection?
300 and I think it's 330, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And that's not including what is still to come out, correct?
Well, Bowen doesn't have the license anymore, so he has not released anything. Thank
When
God,
did he-
because I'd be way behind.
When did he lose the license then? Because I thought there was new stuff coming.
I want
out.
to say about a year or two, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay, yes, then that's pretty recent then, within my window of.
So you have all but 9. Do you know what 9 you do not have?
I do.
Just a couple of them, if you could tell us.
Yeah, I need. There's the X-Men variant minibus 5-pack. They came out with 2 sets. One was in the original black and yellow costumes. The second one was when they actually got individual colors for their costumes.
And you're talking about the original 5 X-Men, right?
Right.
Beast.
Angel, Beast, Marvel Girls, Iceman, and Cyclops.
Okay.
The other one is Major Victory, Vance Astro from the original Guardians of the Galaxy comic. That one's like $400 or $500. I need Strong Guy. I found him on eBay. I just haven't pulled the trigger because I'm trying to find him at a price that I want to pay. Mm-hmm. There was a Sauron,
Right.
not to be confused with the Rings people.
You're talking about Sauron,
The pterodactyl-looking dude.
Right, with the mind
the
control
Savage
ability.
Land.
Yeah, he was the ones that I don't have, and for some silly reason, I never joined the Bowen Club. They were club exclusives. He was one of them. And then there's the
There's an
Wrecking
epic
Crew,
fail.
which was a 4-piece set that a lot of them came through damaged. Even the one that I had came through damaged.
Wow.
And it's been very hard to find. I find them on eBay between $800 and $900.
Damn.
I need Surtur, who's like an extra large bust. He's just giant.
Right, and Surtur is the fire god of Thor's land, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, correct. He's the one who I believe took Odin's eye.
Yes.
There is the chrome version of Silver Surfer, which was limited to, I think, 100 or 500. I can't remember which.
Probably
500.
500, yep.
Yeah. There is the original Iron Man in a modern. It was his modern version. I don't have the original one. That's usually about over $200. All the ones I need are basically over $200.
Yeah, they're hefty figures, definitely.
Pricey.
Yeah, and even when I find them at cons, like cons, growing up, cons were the places you went to get the stuff that your local store didn't have it. But now with eBay, the only reason I go to con is to cosplay with the wife and kid. There's nothing real bargains at the con.
Yeah, no, it's
well,
way
the
too
only-
expensive.
The one thing you can get at the con is usually them con exclusives.
Yeah, the exclusive
right?
things
Right.
that you can't get anywhere else, but also old things that you wouldn't find. You know
Well, no,
what I mean?
he's right about going onto eBay. You're better off at eBay.
Yeah,
doing
but
that
you
through
might, you
eBay
might get a
than
better
at a
price
con.
at a con, I think, than eBay.
See,
No,
Now-
no.
way.
No?
They got to pay for those con tables. Those con tables,
Oh, you're right,
especially
you're
like
right.
New York Comic Con. I
No,
want to
you're
say,
right.
I think the last I heard they were maybe almost $1,000 a day.
Yeah,
So,
some of them were.
you're not-
I mean, when I was
you're
there,
gonna get
I
all
was
your money.
I was asking those guys, "Hey, how much are tables here? How much you paying for tables?" And it was like a little square room, not even like not even a 10 by 10 area. You know what I mean? It was just like,
Yeah.
and it was like 1,500 to 2,000.
Mucho dinero,
they were saying.
sir. Yeah.
Just for
So now the fact that you have the other 300 and odd Bowen bust, that's just phenomenal to me. I mean, that's like any of our wet dreams.
I've
right
seen
here.
the pictures, James. They're
Yeah.
it's
Dude,
absolutely
and he's got
absurd.
some serious busts on there. Now, from what I know, like we were talking about earlier, one of the longest running pricey busts is the original Magneto. I've always known this from when they first came out, when they first dropped like the first 10 of them. That original Magneto was in that first group. Now, I know that's worth probably about $600, and you said you have it, right?
I do have that. I also have.
That's beautiful.
They have some variants of some of the regular busts. One of them, there's 2 I don't have. I don't have the Pyro variant, and there's a Sasquatch variant. And the only thing about the Sasquatch variant is the base of the bust.
Any difference in price?
Oh, yeah. The last one, I lost out foolishly on one. I have not seen it for less than 500, but somebody let it go for like 150, and I was late on the bid.
Wow.
It's probably
Yeah,
broke.
that
Well,
hurt.
dude, if the Bowen license has stopped, your end is in sight.
yeah.
Your collection's end is in sight. You know
and
what I mean?
and it's
Yeah.
growing in price immensely.
And then you can
Yeah.
start
Oh,
something
yeah.
else.
Oh, yeah.
Because in my opinion, and I don't know if I speaking for myself, or pretty much the whole group, is I prefer Bowen busts over any.
Yeah, I always have
any
too.
company
I always have
busts or
too.
anything, you know.
I mean, I've liked the other companies.
Or
Like I
even
like Nika's
full-size
full
statues,
statues, but
Well, no,
you know.
Bowen's full sizes were pretty tempting.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yep.
That one Thanos I had, man, I forget what company made, but with the changeable gloves with the stones on it.
That's Bowen. I'm looking at him right now.
Sick. I mean, I love that statue. That's probably
My
one I'll never
favorite
get
is
rid of.
Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom standing on the castle parapet, his arms crossed, cape blowing in the wind, just like. And
yeah.
I have the Fantastic Four facing him.
okay,
That's
Pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah, all I'm missing is Thing for that set for me. I have everyone but Thing because he didn't come in the 3-pack.
No. This is not. You're talking about. Okay, you're talking about the bust 3-pack. I was talking about the actual full size statues.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I do have those. I have the Thing. I also have the She-Hulk, which was made later on
The
with the
She-Hulk
same base
Fantastic Four
in the
version?
Fantastic Four outfit. Yeah.
That's cool.
I foolishly sold Mike my triple 3-pack of Spider-Man, Venom, and black costume Spider-Man. I was so pissed.
Great buy.
I needed money at the time.
was a great buy.
Great
buy.
So,
Sold him my triple pack. What else did I sell you, Mike? You
a
remember?
couple other things. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of the variants were somewhat easy to get. There's a Punisher, there's a modern version and a classic version.
Mm-hmm.
There's Electro with arms and without arms. There's Ultron, chrome and not chrome.
Yep.
There's a couple of Hulks.
There's like the Iceman. The Iceman, there's 3 of them.
Yeah,
Three of
yeah.
them.
There's
You know?
clear, not
Yep.
clear, and then there's a different X-Men uniform form.
Yep.
There's the one.
There's
that looks like
Deadpool,
snowballs,
which
right?
is going to be worth huge money. Is the Change O Head version, which you can swap out the mask version for his hamburger head version.
Oh, wow.
And that's all original costume, if I'm not mistaken. And
Right.
the X-Force
So
costume.
those with the movie coming
See,
out.
I wish I'd picked that up when that was 40 beans, man.
Oh yeah.
Now you kick yourself in the
I remember looking at his ugly mug, and I was like, I don't want ugly mug Deadpool.
That's cool though. So what version of the Sasquatch do you have? You have the
I have the regular version, which is just the
Alpha Flight
base is
version,
rocks.
not the Snowbird version.
I have that one too.
Okay.
But that's Snowbird as a white Sasquatch. Then there's Sasquatch with a rocky base, and there's Sasquatch with a cityscape base.
Okay.
And the cityscape base is the rare one.
Ah, that's crazy.
cool.
So all in all, I mean, you have tons of statues, and you're besides Bowen. Do you have anything outside of the Bowen?
I do. I have the DC ones. I have the original Dark Knight Batman with the female Robin.
Right.
Oh, that's cool on his shoulder.
Yeah. Where? No. That's the second version. That's where she's dressed in like a cheetah outfit.
Yeah.
I have the first one where she's dressed like Robin. Batman's kind of squatting down, pointing out, and she's aiming a slingshot.
Oh, that's from the comic then. From the
Right.
panel.
The
Yeah, yeah,
original
yeah.
Dark Knight comic.
That's cool.
I have another Batman where he's perched over a Joker's head that's in like a gargoyle kind of setting.
Okay.
Not to be confused with the original Batman, the first one that came out, where he's perched over an actual gargoyle, which is worth big bucks. I have your obligatory Harley Quinn, a Catwoman, but in the purple outfit, a Joker where he's standing on the steps of cards. He's holding up a skull, kind of a la Yorick, and a Batgirl, and then some of the other. There's another Bowen tall statue that's actually worth a lot of money, and it crept up very slowly, which was Captain America in the modern pose, not the World War II pose.
Okay.
Have that one. There's a Wolverine masked and unmasked, Black Widow. I even have the female Grendel, Christine Spar, and I can't for the life of me imagine why I got it, other than maybe because of her perky boobies.
Yeah.
That's always a good buying
Always a plus. Yeah.
buying
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah. Then I tried to tell my wife, "This is what you should cosplay, hon."
Yeah,
and she
right?
looks at it and goes, "Uh huh."
Well, speaking of perky boobies, these DC bombshells that I've been seeing online, you have some of those as well?
I have all but 2, and of course they're the 2 most expensive one,
Right.
which is the original Harley Quinn and the Batgirl. And they just come out with a second series on pre-order, which includes, well, let me tell you the original ones. Poison Ivy in kind of like a femme fatale pose. You have Black Canary as a singer in a risque outfit. You have Supergirl, who's just kind of like floating.
Yeah, floating.
And you have Stargirl, which nobody really cares about Stargirl.
No,
She's
not
just
really.
kind of resting on her scepter, no pun intended. And
Lois Lane, right?
Lois, she's coming out. She's a newsie, which was kind of cute.
Right.
They have Chitara, but in her before she becomes Chitara outfit, and she's like a female Indiana Jones.
Right. Yeah.
They have a Catwoman coming out who looks like an office secretary kind of thing. And they have, let's see, Zatanna Zatara, who's really good. They have a holiday Harley Quinn. They have Mira, which actually looks pretty good for Aquaman, because, nobody likes Aquaman.
Yeah, I don't even know who Mira is until
Yeah.
I heard Aquaman. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
She must have to do with Aquaman.
There you go. But yeah, I have all those. I just tried to put up a second shelf so I can put all the bombshells on their own.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Always use good hardware.
Yes, Michael knows all about not listening to anybody about, hey,
Hardware.
There's too much weight on that shelf. No, man.
All right,
no,
stop
it's
talking
good.
about it. It's going to make me depressed. James.
Yes.
Oh, good thing, man.
Still here.
You all right?
You're a champ.
Yeah, it's soaking all this in, because when it comes
Soak it
to...
in.
I've not been alive long enough for anything I ever bought to be worth anything. Seriously.
Oh, that just told us your age.
It does.
James, do
the only
you
things I
like to collect anything, James? Do you have any kind of
And not the
statues?
Beano.
It's the dandy, actually. Christ. No, I like to collect the Doctor Who. I got heavily into Doctor Who when I was
Of course
a
you
little
did.
kid.
You're from England.
And I actually did do the buy one to play with, buy one to keep.
Oh, well, then there you go.
And I've got some
you're
stuff
on
that's
top of
gone
the
up
game.
from being like £5 to £20, so it's not too bad. It's not
Okay.
too bad.
That's $10 to $40 in American.
Oh, okay. I thought
Roughly.
I thought they traded in squid over there. I don't know.
No, it's quid with a Q.
Quid promo.
Yeah. A quid is £1. £1 is
£1 is about $1.78 roughly. I always round it up to 2. It makes it easier.
Yeah.
it does.
Rounding is always my forte.
But yeah, it's I got heavily into the Doctor Who trading cards. That was a waste of money.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, though, I did get John Barrowman to sign his own trading cards. So
That's cool.
That's cool. He seems like a pleasant person.
Yeah.
he is. He's fabulous.
Well, just to let the masses know, some of the new stuff that's coming out, Master of the Universe, there's a He-Man statue done by Sideshow Collectibles that looks absolutely amazing.
Classic or that weird anime
He's got
tape?
like that new look to him, but you could, he's got he doesn't have the He-Man haircut from the 80s.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
got the long hair from the 05 cartoon or whatever.
Okay.
But the detail in it is amazing. I mean, I don't remember I think it was like $400 for the price of it.
Full size though.
Yeah,
right?
but Sideshow does you'd make monthly payments.
Yeah,
and, it's like $50, $60
Get
a
outta
month for the
here.
rest of your life.
Yeah, mortgage your family.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But this one, had a removable cape, the power sword.
When did he ever have a cape?
In the new cartoon.
Mm.
Yeah, he had a cape in that one.
The road in
It displays on Castle like a piece of Castle Grayskull, which is pretty cool, and it comes with like extra parts: the power axe, the shield, and the power sword.
Okay.
So I would say that would be one of my picks to just to have. It's He-Man, bro. Everybody loves He-Man.
Well, I know for me
I'd rather spend my money on the Iron Man.
and for me, I would do anything Bowen, but if I couldn't do Bowen, from my desire from like 2.5 years ago, I still haven't gotten that 24-inch Voltron that came out. That was
That was awesome.
That was sick.
that was
that
bad,
was sick.
dude.
It was metal. They came apart. They made the.
I have an
Voltron.
original. I have an original
Yeah.
Lions.
The Lions
die
die
cut.
That's
cast.
true Voltron. The car Voltron was just a half-assed.
That was like the worst.
that was
one.
GoBots,
Yeah,
It was almost GoBots, really.
garbage bots. But the Hot Toys, like the Sideshow Collectibles, like
Yeah.
the Iron Man, the fact that they made the Iron Man Mark III armor go into the Hulkbuster armor and light up through it
Yeah.
is just great thinking ahead of time for something. And if you're going to spend $400 on something, that's where I'm going to spend $400 on.
But those are just hot toys, right? I mean, that's just. I mean, the hot toys are so expensive because they're movable. You could do anything with those
they're also,
things.
in my opinion, they're museum quality type of a piece. Like that's not something that you just.
That's not something you'd play with. You know, you just kind of like
something that you even mess around.
You can make
you
movies
put it in a
with
glass
them,
case,
probably.
You
know, like little slideshows.
I guess. You're Seth MacFarlane.
Some of the hot toys that I was looking at, there's a couple different Fetts that they have, Boba Fett's. Newer ones, the Kylo Ren. But
they came out with a Black Series Boba Fett for San Diego. That's probably trading around 100, 125. That's pretty cool. It comes with the Carbonite Han Solo.
Oh, it comes with Carbonite Han Solo?
Yeah, it comes in a nice big case. They came out with a Doctor Strange and Ant-Man in these like big collectible, if you will, with various parts of different figures. But the Star Wars Boba Fett one, Black Series, was really nice.
There's the deluxe Fett. I think it's like, I don't know, what was the price? $299. Deluxe. It was a Hot Toys Deluxe, and it was him coming out of the Sarlacc.
Yeah,
that
was a 10 also.
So that, those are some of the things that's like on my radar.
I'm still partial to the older stuff though too. Like for right now, for me, I'm on the hunt for a certain collection of figures, and they're called Eagle Force. They were 3-inch die-cast,
the die-cast characters,
metal characters.
Did they have something in their chest too, or something?
No. That you're thinking of like the.
I'm thinking of holograms in their chest. What were those characters?
Guys. Yeah, they were all knights.
I can never remember them.
Yeah.
They were all different. But yeah, I remember which ones you're talking about because they were like indestructible.
Oh yeah, you could throw them through windows. They're die-cast metal. Are you kidding me? But that's for me. Like, I don't really get into the newer stuff.
But you found one of those, didn't you?
I found 4 of them. So
four now.
All out of the package. But
yeah, of course.
I'd love to get them in the package. And they were running. I've seen them on eBay for like maybe $40 to $70 a guy in the package.
Then there's some of these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle statues. I seen this set at Comic-Con last year, and I just recently started seeing, and they were all in black and white. Okay. Remember those? Did you see those when you were there?
Yes.
It was all of them were like perched on a different pedestal, if you will, but it was like a building.
Yeah, well, that's the original Eastman.
The original comic,
they looked
Eastman and Laird.
Lairdish, right? They looked, but they had colored bandanas,
which also is a faux pas.
Right, exactly.
There was no colored bandanas.
Right, they were all red. They were all black and white, right?
Until they made it color, and them color
That's when
books,
they started off with red.
Well,
they all were red.
The color books were only reprints of the actual issues.
Yeah.
And that was done in them 4 or 5 graphic novels done by First Press, but they were all red in that one.
And these statues are so like sick looking.
Oh yeah, I love the way the old ones looked. Though.
Yeah,
they were like way more gritty. Not all rounded like the television show like when we were kids.
Yeah, they were muscular and like badass.
Yeah,
and bloody.
Looking.
Everything was bloody.
Oh yeah,
too.
It was ninjas.
Yeah, and they were killing people, not just pretending to. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a unwritten law that children's cartoons are not allowed to show death.
Oh, sure.
That's why all the cartoons from the 80s, if you see a plane explode, you always saw a parachute.
Yep.
G.I. Joe never killed Cobra people. They killed Cobra robots.
Yep, all the time.
And the only way to kill Optimus Prime was to come out with a movie. And the clamoring for Optimus Prime to come back was so great, they brought him back into the TV series because of that.
Yeah. And I remember sitting there in the movie theater when that. Kids around me were crying.
Yeah.
What do you mean he's dead?
Some of these other things I've seen. Godzilla, man, he's making a comeback.
Well, I've always been a huge guy.
I love Godzilla.
Me and Brendan were like the only thing we ever had in common.
But there's a 16-inch tall movie edition of Godzilla. It was 16 by 13 by 13. It was $400.
What movie version though? The new one,
The rubber suit.
I would buy the rubber suit.
I'd buy the rubber one. Hell yeah!
As long as it ain't the one that Matthew Broderick was in.
I don't think it was the Godzilla 2000. No, it was like the newer one. But they even have a bigger one than this. It's 24 by 20 by 19.
That's like a scarecrow.
Listen, nothing's going to beat the 6-inch scale for the Black Series Millennium Falcon 18 feet around toy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, that won't even fit in my TV room. My TV room's 20 by 22.
That's something you just want to put an engine on and try to drive around in.
Make that into a drone. But yeah, so and then these other Dark Horse is coming out with Game of Thrones statues, which is pretty cool.
Well, they have the rights to that now, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
Horse.
so. Yeah,
even to make books from, because I heard
hopefully.
that's what he may be going towards after he finishes the season 6 or the book that is going to be season 6, I guess.
right.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's doing now, I would assume.
Have you caught up on the show?
I am caught up on the show.
Oh, finally,
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
This from the guy who doesn't have HBO.
Yeah, R plus L equals J.
Yeah.
But I'm still caught up on the show.
Okay.
Where there's a
the thing
will,
I like
there's a
about
way.
the show so much is just that it's based off of England, north, south. We have a wall up here. It's great.
That's
That is cool.
That's why you're a fan.
Speaking of collections or collectibles, there was a pretty interesting Star Wars one that they came out with San Diego, and it was the 6 figures that they were supposedly coming out with in like retro style, 70s style, and it came with a Sand Trooper, a whole bunch. It came with Princess Leia and Bespin, Sand Trooper, Clone Trooper, Episode 6 Darth Vader. But the coolest thing was it comes all packaged as one, and in the center you pull up the chamber from Bespin Cloud City, and in it is a Carbonite Jar Jar Binks.
Yes, I've heard about this.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw it at the last con we're at in Morristown, and a guy had it there. He wanted $150, which didn't seem unreasonable
No, I would've
considering what it was.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Because them San Diego Con exclusives,
Yeah, they're exclusive.
They go
You're not gonna
big.
see them anywhere else.
And, well, even not just the Star Wars stuff, but just
Anything.
any con exclusive, usually, especially from San Diego here on the East Coast, is usually around that ballpark.
Yeah, like the Funko Pops, they had of all the characters to have,
People
they had
love these
Regina
things.
from Once Upon a Time,
Really?
and she's like $400 for a pop figure.
Yeah, it's one of the most expensive pops they have out now, I think.
Yeah.
That, and I think a weird Garfield for whatever reason.
The stupidest things
Well, yeah,
become
'cause like I
pops,
said,
and then they're like
My wife
all the
is right
rage.
now, and she is not a collectible type of a person. Like I'm surprised she married me because of who I am, but I'm slowly changing her to the dark side. So now she's obsessed with pops for whatever reason.
So is mine.
You're,
Yeah,
got
really?
the
you're in
entire
trouble now.
superhero, Star Wars, and Star Trek collection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a
I'm
friend
limiting
who
her
spent-
space because I have more stuff than she does. So.
Well, now she needs to collect something.
Yeah.
Because
Well-
you have invaded everything.
Yeah, I'm all over.
she,
it.
needs,
Dishcloths.
she needs something.
Here's
Well,
just something she can collect, which is kind of nice that I got my wife into. Is something called Amikami, which is anime versions of the DC characters. There you stand about
Amikami.
6 inches tall. Yeah,
Well, she loves
A-M-E
tiny things. It's also a
C-O-M-I.
weird thing for my ego.
Walking Dead.
Well, she loves that.
Yeah, the tiny little Walking Dead characters. That's what you should get her into.
Yeah, because they look presentable on a dining room counter.
Absolutely.
Well, I don't have chickens yet, so
Children's.
Yeah,
little-
that's
no
why you
little
have to have a whole
chittens for him.
separate room or everything high up on a shelf.
yeah. Or I just do what I do now.
Well,
just keep it in the
Don't do it.
We are running out of time right now, so that's going to do it for this episode of Geek Blast. You guys keep a lookout for us. Check out our Facebook page. It's www.facebook.com/geekblast.com. You guys can always email us anything you want. Hate mail, it doesn't matter. We want it. geekblast1@gmail.com.
Picture your collections, statue collections,
Erections?
Erections? No, not that.
key elections.
Let's keep it clean, people.
Keep it cheap.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
Yes.
So long, Porkins.
So long, Porkins. All right. Well, and Dennis, I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you in the future episodes. I think we're going to keep
Definitely.
you around.
Yeah.
And so definitely check us out. We will be talking to you soon. Geek Blast.
Out.
Out.
What dub dub?
Welcome to Geek Blast.
Geek Blast, you better make way. Open up your ears and let the word spray. Hey, hey, did you hear the noise? Something just exploded as a mushroom, have you noticed? Geek Blast, clear out the pad. Gizmo's throwing caca and Chewbacca is a rat. Hey, what? Better call your dad. Something has been growing underneath the doormat. Geek Blast.
Tommy Davidson, blasting off on the Geek Blast at Comic-Con. NYC, baby. For real?
From what I've seen, is where I think that they're kind of loosely basing it on, but not really.
So they're basically going back to that point,
Wait.
like it never happened, and then following it like he never went to Mephisto and traded,
Gave the kid to Mephisto.
Well, yeah, they
That
went to
sounds
Mephisto.
Yeah.
And
See, I'm clueless, but I love Mephisto as a character.
Aunt May was dying of some kind of cancer.
She
or
got
something,
shot,
right? What was
didn't
it?
she?
She got shot. The Kingpin had her shot because, what's her name? He found out about Parker's identity.
Yeah, because Peter outed himself. It was a branch of the Civil War thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's definitely when he outed himself. That was around the time where he took
And it was,
what's his name side, Stark's side, with
Interesting.
Scarlet Spider, right? No, not Scarlet
Yeah,
Spider. Iron
no.
Spider. I'm sorry.
Iron Spider, yeah. It's quite interesting to see how, with that Peter Parker, he let the world get taken over by a crazy guy. It's like, what? But what I know from people I've spoken to that also read the Spider-Man comics before I did, the after Brand New Day was when they kind of stopped. So I think maybe they're trying to get a bit of callback to go, oh no, it's okay, we didn't do anything stupid
Yeah.
20 years ago.
You know what? I think both Marvel and DC are trying to capitalize on the success they had by not trying to make something successful. DC started with Identity Crisis, which was a great story. You could go back all the way to the death of Superman when they kind of skipped Doomsday through a bunch of different books, but Identity Crisis was a separate series that ran through everything.
Welcome to Geek Blast.
Geek Blast, you better make way. Open up your ears and let the word spray. Hey, hey, did you hear the noise? Something just exploded as a mushroom, have you noticed? Geek Blast, clear out the pad. Gizmo's throwing caca and Chewbacca is a rat. Hey, what? Better call your dad. Something has been growing underneath the doormat. Geek Blast.
Welcome back, geeks, nerds, and dweebs alike. I'm Mike,
I'm Dave.
I'm Terms.
And I'm James.
and you're listening to
Geek Blast.
What would double up?
What's Up, everybody?
Welcome.
Bringing it back. Tonight we have a special guest. We got Dennis on the line. Dennis, how you doing this evening?
All right, Mike, how are you?
I'm doing
Boys?
good.
Now, is Dennis a New Jerseyan?
Dennis is a local Jersey boy.
Okay.
He's got a sick, massive collection of statues and goodies that we all want to
Strictly Barbie, right?
have.
Strictly Barbie. Come on now, let us know.
No,
I got the more rare Ken one.
Special edition Kens, I know it.
With
Black
the-
hair Kens.
with the disco outfits.
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to be talking about obviously some collectible stuff, toys and stuff like that. Also, we wanted to touch on some comics, comic book.
And then led to the debacle that is the new 52 and the old 52 and whatever 50. And then Civil War was that for Marvel, which was a great story, ran through all the titles. And now they're like backtracking. Ooh, we can create new titles. And part of it also has to do with, I think, the Fantastic Four issues with the rights to Sony and let's kill the comic book and hopefully nobody will see the movie.
Yeah.
I guess that worked.
It totally did.
It did. Nobody saw that movie.
Yeah, but nobody saw the movie because of the trailer alone was like, there's nothing here we want to see.
Yeah.
And the best part of the trailer, supposedly never even happened in the movie, but I digress.
I didn't see it, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Well, that's
I purposely didn't see that hunk of
Yeah.
stinking pile.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, on the comic front, I heard just other weird things. Like, I mean, obviously, most recently, everybody knows that Wolverine, Logan, they actually finally killed him off.
Yep.
Which I was happy that I wasn't reading because he's one of my.
Was that
favorite
before
characters.
Civil War, though? That was before.
That was after Civil War.
No, it just
I'm
happened.
sorry, not Civil War. I'm sorry.
Before Secret War, yes.
Before Secret Wars,
Yes. And this is actually the new version of Secret Wars because the original Secret Wars had little to do with what it is the new stuff I
Right.
think is dealing with.
Right.
I'm not really sure.
It is. And the original Secret Wars was just one of those summer, not really a summer, but it kicked off during the summer, if
Right.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was in
Of,
July.
a limited series.
Yeah, it was basically a limited series. It was basically Morales, same difference.
Morales, Melendez, they're all the same.
Either way, he'll
jumpers.
clean your lawn.
Take me back to Mother Effin' 93, baby. Any day.
So some of the titles that have come out, has anybody seen them? Anybody gotten them?
Yes.
What do you got, James?
I've recently been getting, of course, as me being the big Spider-Man guy, I've currently been following the Renew Your Vows and the Spider Island. The Spider Island one that I actually have not had a chance to read because I'm just waiting till I get them all so I can speed read that BS.
You're going to binge read it?
Yeah, but for Renew Your Vows, essentially, in this little pocket of reality, this Peter Parker is married to MJ. They've got a daughter. It's not Mayday Parker. And the first issue kicks off with a big prison break because all the superheroes are being murdered. And Venom comes after his family. And then Peter murders Venom.
What Venom is that? Is it Flash
Eddie Brock.
Thompson Venom? The original Venom? Is it
they
Scorpion
seem to
Venom?
have completely backtracked, and there's Agent Venom isn't a thing in this little Renew Your Vows pocket of his existence.
It kind of
It's
picks
still
up
Eddie Brock and
before.
Rikers.
It picks up kind of where I think it picks up is when just before they had the first death of Aunt May, when he was married to MJ, they had a kid, and they gave up the kid to Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto.
Right, Brand New Day.
That's
that
where
was,
I
right?
think they pick. Yeah, Brandon. I think that's to me.
They've been
Love
doing
'em.
crazy things. They're secret wars, and they're just
World
turning the world upside down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So first off, let's start with the comics, okay, guys? As you all know, Secret Wars has been released. I think it was like in July they released it, and I personally have not read most of it, but I'm hearing some crazy stuff where they're like just one dimension now. Dave, do you agree with their move what they're doing here, or are they?
Well, they got to do something.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
not selling as many books as DC is right now.
Got to compete somehow.
The revamp, but at the same time, I'm a traditionalist, and everybody that listens to the show knows that about me. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I probably won't be happy with everything that's going on. But then again, some things would be a natural progression.
Right.
Amadeus Cho.
How things happen. Right. Amadeus Cho being the Hulk.
Yeah, he's Asian or something,
Miss
right?
Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is he? I don't know.
Well,
Today, the big
whole
thing is to
race thing-
change everybody's ethnicity.
The whole race thing is like big. You know, people are like, "Oh, why would you change the character so drastically?" You know, just keep
It seems so
another white guy or
forced,
another
though.
black
It's
guy.
so forced.
It is forced. It's like making
Isn't
a
it?
black Human Torch. I mean,
Yeah.
who would do that? Oh wait,
That
Yeah.
happened.
Let's make all boys girls and
Yeah,
girls
exactly.
boys and
Well,
you know.
well that was the point
ethnicities.
behind Ultimate Spider-Man and making Miles Melendez a Hispanic
Morales?
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's just
Melendez.
crazy.